Well, I feel greedy. I feel greedy because I felt like we had two winners tonight. One of them, I drove Swans Honey bad. I sit in down the backstretch. I can't imagine that Paul McKenzie's horse can beat me. I just thought she was going to run away on them and win easy. And to be quite frank, I was being greedy because I said, well, knowing that we're approaching that threshold with the money, I think if we have a way to maximize that, it makes sense. She wins easy tonight. Put her on gate, saying she's going into the final of a sale. We get overpaid for her, which is best case scenario, because realistically, after next week, we could have a problem, serious problem. So I believe, one, there's no doubt in my mind I drove the mare terrible. I sit in, I think I'm a winner. I end up getting beat at the wire. So that's what happens when you drive bad. My Jazz, with it being so cold and such ice around and everything, I took a second look at her shoes 2 days ago and I said, geez, she doesn't have enough cork on for Ontario, not for what we're going through right now. Blacksmith came and I think he tipped her up behind, which I was worried about. I wanted to get her sharpened up behind because she wears, it's hard to explain, she wears like an elevator pad behind, like a degree pad behind, because she runs down. And without a sufficient amount of cork, now you have a piece of plastic on the ground. I know you can easily say, well, it was the same as last week, but that track's not the same as last week, right? So we ended up putting corks on her, and I believe the blacksmith took the shoes off her up front and corked them up also. That's what you would do, unless I had told you not to. And I hate, and I mean hate, shoeing horses close to the race. For whatever reason, my Jazz didn't want to leave as well tonight, didn't want to get out of the gate. Now, I can easily say from the 8-hole, you get a real good run at it, and maybe that's all it was. It just didn't feel like she was sharp tonight, right? This is a filly that was good last week and just kind of present tonight. I think she could be a lot better than she was tonight, and I think she probably is still the best in the series, but we need to have her sharp. We need to have her sharp going into the final, and I don't think she was on the top of her game tonight. So we can work on a number of things. I am gonna put Swans Honey on gate, but I don't know. What do we say? 19 grand, I think, US is 22, 23 Canadian. Maybe I can get back the money I lost us tonight. Who knows? And there may be people out there saying, well, Swans Honey raced better than My Jazz. You're right, she did. But she's not a better mare than My Jazz. It's just the reality of the situation. And I think that My Jazz was okay tonight, but still, even a sounder than last week. I don't think it's a soundness issue. I think it's just a race-to-race, have her sharp and ready to go issue, and I think that's what we have to work on next week. And really, that is not a hard thing to do. Maybe train her up a little bit 3 days out. We haven't trained her in months. Train her up a little bit. Maybe get her scoped, see if there was a little mucus in there, a little blood in there. Nothing serious, and regardless of what we find tonight, I highly doubt there isn't anything that we can't fix for next week. So I'm very optimistic going into the final with My Jazz. She needs to be better than that, but I know 100% Jason and Cindy and those guys can have her on her toes next week. If that's the case, we're headed to the winner's circle. They don't have a winner's circle right now at Flamboro or fans, but we're headed to somewhere. Most importantly, they're going to send us a check, and that's what we're after. So I feel like a greedy pig saying, oh, whining about 2 seconds. We had 2 seconds. But when you feel like they should have been wins, yeah, kind of bites a little bit. You feel like the guy that had $5 to win on a horse and it won, and you said, oh, I wish I had bet $10 to win. I'm left feeling like I shorted you. And My Jazz, I think, first over would have been suicide. I don't think that got us beat. She had more than enough room in the last turn to get out and get the job done. She just wasn't super sharp tonight. I knew it behind the gate. She fell off the screen. She doesn't usually do that. She's done it before. Not usually, though. So that's just a matter of sharpening her up. And Swans Honey, just a bonehead move by me, cost us the win. So my apologies for Swans Honey. I think we can have My Jazz sharp for the final. If we don't have any bites on Swans Honey, we can have them both sharp for the final. But I will lay to rest any questions right now. I will be driving My Jazz in the final of the pop-up series next week. Both are in the final. Both will race. Both were good tonight. Neither were quite good enough. One couldn't overcome a bad drive, and the other one just wasn't quite sharp. So we'll move on. New day tomorrow. Hopefully the sun comes up, and race next week. 2 of them in the final of the pop-up series at Flamboro. Talk to you all very soon. All your videos are done. They're loading soon, but they haven't loaded yet. Take care.